So I met Sam first at college in around 2016. So I don't actually remember meeting her properly for the first time, because I was at college. There was 200 or so other people there, and we lived in completely separate parts of the building. But the first time that I actually remember interacting with Sam was at our college musical. I was backstage manager, she was directing it. At the time we were actually both in different relationships, but we got talking, and that was when we first started chatting and interacting, and I thought she was pretty cool. Anyway, kind of fast forward another year and a half. We're both now single, and I get invited to her best friend's 21st birthday party. So you met her before, Shrimp, the best friend, and it happened to be that Shrimp and Sam were actually living together, and that was when we first, first started properly interacting outside of musical and college and all of that kind of stuff. Shrimp decided to do a dare, and one thing led to another, and Sam and I just kept talking after that. So it's like the next day we basically spent the entire day together. We got breakfast for our very hungover friends, and throughout that next week we went on trips around Armidale to all the local places, and started playing video games together and all that. And then after we went home for the university holidays, we just kept messaging and calling each other and talking, which is something that I never did before. I don't like talking on the phone, but I don't know, there was something about Sam that made me want to, which was really cool. And then start of the next year, so this would be 2019, around about then, Sam asked me to be her girlfriend, and kind of went from there, which is really nice. Part of the reason that I really like Sam, and one of the things that drew me to her originally when we first started talking, was that she made everyone around her feel comfortable to be themselves. Like, if you had a question about, I don't know what to do about this situation, it's kind of tough, I don't really know how to approach it, Sam was kind of the person everyone went to figure that kind of thing out. And she was very good at giving advice. And even if you just sit there and don't talk and you're doing completely separate things, to me that was something that I really enjoyed, was the fact that we could do that and not have to talk, and we'd still feel comfortable and happy and safe. And it's just one of the things that I just love about her, is how safe and comfortable I feel just hanging out with her. I'm doing the crying thing. She just has a way of being around people that I haven't seen out of anyone else. One of our favorite things to do together is we'll get a book. We'll both be reading completely separate things because we have completely different tastes. And we'll have a cup of tea, maybe a cookie or something like that, and we'll just sit there for hours and read together. She also is insanely intelligent, especially around her passion, which is history, and we'll just go on 5-10 minute TED Talks about a random topic in European history, and I'll just sit there and be like, holy moly, how does all of that fit into your head? How do you remember all of that? And just sitting and listening to her is something that I absolutely love doing. So when we first started moving in together, and sorry, kind of switching vein, but when we first moved in together, that was when lockdown happened and COVID, and that was a time. But between the two of us, we've always like managed to find ways to have fun. And you know, something that Sam kind of came up with was that whenever we go out and go to the shops or go for a walk, we kind of thought of it as an adventure for the two of us, which confuses the heck out of my family, where I'm like, we went on an adventure today and we went shopping for, you know, some random piece of clothing. But that was kind of how we had fun in those kinds of things, where we couldn't see other people and interact with other people. We made every trip, every journey, everything that we did was seen as a new adventure for us. And yeah, so that's just what Sam does. She makes life fun. She makes it interesting, and she's the one I want to hopefully keep having an interesting, fun life with for a very, very long time, which will be good. Yeah, so the proposal story for us is a bit complicated, a little bit, because there were actually 3 accidental proposals that Sam made. Before we were even, like, it was just completely off the cuff. I apparently made a really good cup of tea, and the response was marry me. And after that happened a couple of times, and I was like, maybe not right now. Still at uni, about to go separate jobs and all that. We actually came up with a rule that I would be the one to propose first. Yeah, so the first time that I kind of realized that I was ready for marriage and to be engaged, and that I wanted it to be Sam, it was just completely, like, I kind of had all the things that I wanted, which was we were both living in the same place. We had jobs, so we weren't going to be moving around too much. We just gotten we just gotten our cat. And I just looked over at her and saw her playing with our cat, and thought, yeah, this is gonna be the one. And it was quite a while after that I ended up proposing to her, because I wanted her best friend to be there, to have someone that Sam could celebrate with, because a lot of her university friends, far and wide, I knew this was someone that she needed to be there, and that I wanted wanted her to have there. Yeah, so went shopping with Sam, so she knew it was going to happen. She just didn't know when. So got the ring and set it all up. So her best friend was coming down for her birthday weekend, and we kind of schemed a little bit together. We're like, oh, where are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? How do we keep this from Sam? How do we make it so that she has nice nails without her knowing? That kind of thing. And took her to a place in Canberra, which is the Arboretum there, which has some really nice cork forests area, which is very kind of English style in a lot of ways. And I know Sam loves the English countryside and wants to move there one day. So I thought that would be a really nice place for us to share a moment. And so we went on a nice walk there, the 3 of us. So Shrimp in the background with a little video camera, being like, okay, we've got to get this on camera. And I think Sam said something silly, and I looked over and was just like, yeah, well, there's no backing out now, because that is exactly who I want to be with. And I asked, and she said yes. The thing that there's a few things that I'm really looking forward to being married to Sam. One of them I've kind of touched on before, but sitting down in a house or an apartment that we own, with books lining the house, kind of dark academia style. Sam and I may have talked about this once or twice, but having some books open and just reading with a nice, like, I don't know, a scone or cookies or something like that. Maybe a fireplace in the background with our cup of tea, and just, looking out the window, getting to be together and experience that kind of simple thing together would be, that's something that I'm really, really looking forward to. I get little doses of it now and then at the moment, but I'm so excited for like when we retire and we can do that almost every day. Would just be the absolutely perfect thing to be able to do with her. I am also really excited to, so one of our plans is to go and explore overseas, particularly the UK. So we want to move over there for a couple of years, and I've never been to that area and haven't experienced that part of the world very much. And I'm really excited to go and just, I guess, expand on our little adventures and making it a bigger adventure, where we go and we learn how to live over there and experience things in a completely separate environment to what we have in Australia here. So I'm very, very excited to go and experience that with her. So I'm not fully sure how to start this. Tomorrow's the day. We're getting married, which is something I never thought I would get. I am exceptionally excited, and you know how I get with feeling happy, I start crying, so I'm really, really excited to call you my wife, to eat lots of cookies, to drink lots of tea, to have coffee, and just all of the nice things with you and go on our adventure together. I cannot wait to experience life with you. I wouldn't pick anyone else for it. No one else makes me feel comfortable, safe. No one makes me feel like me as much as you. So I'm very excited to be your wife. You're much more eloquent with words than I am, so I'm probably going to go and give you a hug now. And I can't wait for us to be Mrs. and Mrs. Morrill Whitehouse together. Yeah, I love you. The end of the universe and back, and for hopefully a very, very long time.
So the story of how we met at college, I remember seeing her for the first time, and I remember it was her first year and my second year, and I remember watching her walk across the courtyard wearing full soccer gear, trailing after one of the older girls like a puppy dog, and I was just like, yeah, that one's not straight. But I knew her around college a lot. She was very popular, she was so good at sports. Like, our worlds did not collide in any shape or form. She was doing science and a science degree. I was doing law and arts. We were doing different history classes as well. She was doing ancient Rome, I was doing some more modern stuff. And so I thought, I'm not going to have much to do with her at all. You know, I'm not the type of person to hang around Sportswoman of the Year. I was very artsy, very creative and all of that. So I knew her about college because she was so popular and everyone loved her so much because she's so sweet, so kind, very affable, friendly, all of that. But we never really sort of met until she got dragged on to work on The Little Mermaid the musical, which I was directing. And she got dragged on to be a stagehand for some reason, and that's how we crossed paths. Our first Facebook message is her asking me what size dinner trays I wanted for one of the scenes. It's not very romantic. It didn't really show anything that was to come. It was quite funny. So yeah, and I always liked her, but she was dating someone else at the time. I was dating somebody else at the time. So again, our paths didn't really cross too much until she moved on to my old floor. And I'd moved out by that point, but I was still very close friends with everybody and came back a lot, and sort of the stars aligned in terms of us both being single. And yeah, it sort of went off from there, I guess, yeah. So by 2018, I'd moved out And as I said, I'm still friends with a lot of my old floor buddies. And so I was visiting a lot, and so we got more into contact and things like that. And at some point we were both single, and then it sort of falls into two stories that we tell. And I don't know which one Sarah's told, but I'll kind of do a bit of both.
Maybe you could do both, and editors, you're hearing all this, right?
So it was my friend Shrimp's 21st birthday party. So we hosted a big house party because we had a big house, very nice and open, and we invited most of our floor to come along, and Sarah was one of those people. And we'd been talking on and off a little bit flirtatious in previous nights out. You know, I'd been very respectful, keep my distance, you know. And then I think Sarah got a bit jealous of me chatting up another girl. And because Shrimp, my friend, was trying to get us together all night. She was throwing all sorts of tantrums and trying to do all sorts of things to get us. She did a dare to try and get us to kiss or something like that. It was getting ridiculous. Anyway, what did it was she saw me, I was flirting with another girl, and she was like, no, I want that one. Yeah, I think the key thing to me about Sarah was that she was always quite guarded when I knew her. And even though we talk a lot, you'd never got, like, there were lots of things that I didn't know. And so gradually she started letting down these walls, and I felt very honored that she was doing that with me. And I thought, well, I must be having some sort of good impact, that she feels safe and comfortable enough to do that, because I was like, she's not doing this with anybody else, really. And so I treasured those small moments with her as she opened up more and more. And we found out that we had so much more in common than I initially thought. You know, there were these artists that we crossed over in terms of what we liked, and they were very niche artists. So I thought nobody else knows about them. She did, and they were very important music to me, etc. And values as well was very important. So we found out we had very similar views on life, and that was, we could talk for hours about all kinds of things. And we used to go, because we were poor students, we used to do really cheap date nights, buy a hot chocolate from Macca's, and then go to an lookout, and drink our hot chocolates, put some of our favorite music on, and just talk and chat under the stars. That's all we could afford, but it was really nice. It meant that we got to talk very deeply about a lot of stuff, which of course I absolutely treasured and adore her for. And then she was so incredibly patient with me, I think is the key thing. And she was so kind and compassionate, and I've always been drawn to those kind people. And I was sort of like, I want this to sort of stick around, so I'm gonna do what I can to keep her sticking around, and for some reason she kept sticking around me. So, as I said, she was very popular at college, and she's not an extrovert in any sense of the word. I think people recognized in her that she genuinely had good intentions with everything that she does. She's always thinking about other people, always being very compassionate to them, you know, putting a hand up to help out with absolutely everything, sometimes too much. And I mean, she's very practical, very, you know, physically orientated, keeps herself in good shape, which I appreciate. And yeah, just very practical, very physical, and very intellectual as well. And I think part of when she was sort of breaking down her walls was like getting in touch with a lot of those emotions, which as a creative artsy person, I'm fairly used to, getting really deep into that and not being too afraid of what I'm feeling. So, and it was a joy to see her discover a lot of that stuff as well, and be able to feel joy and express it like so vividly and excitedly, and to really see her throw herself into something. So I realized very early on that Sarah was just, I was going to marry her, however it went in life. I just knew a bit, probably too early on, that it was going to be her. And I couldn't tell you a specific moment. There were so many small little moments, you know, fetching me a cup of tea or driving me to get chicken nuggets late at night, you know, things like that, that I just thought I could do this forever. and I'm a very uncertain person. I cannot make decisions very well, but for some reason I just had this certainty. I was like, you're going to marry her. She is, you know, the one. And consequently, if I was ever a bit too drunk, I would start planning our wedding. She would find me in the bathtub or something, just going off about, oh, I think we should have this color flowers, and then all and after like a year or so, I accidentally proposed. So it was one morning, she made me a really good cup of tea, and I just thought, oh, just marry me. Because it's just like, this is perfect, I love this life. And then I've probably kept doing that sort of thing. So eventually Sarah had to put her foot down and say, you're not allowed to propose anymore, because I'm sick of saying no to you. We will do it at a sensible time. And so we agreed that she would be the one to actually properly propose. She was the more responsible one when it came to that. But I was ready from the get-go. I could have run off and married her at any time, and I would have been so happy. But I was like, fair enough, she had this list of things to tick off, you know, stable home, stable job, all of that, and I was like, fair enough. Anyway, so we'd been talking about it for a long time, and I think she sort of knew, yep, this is what I want to do as well. And we were looking at rings and things like that, because Sarah was very anxious that she wasn't going to get one I liked. And I said to her, I don't really mind, you know, you want to marry me, that is the biggest gift. She said, no, come round and let's look at rings so I know what style and things you want. And so we were going through some shops, and we found one. It was a really lovely one, very expensive one, but it was on sale. And I thought, I love this one. And she goes, okay, we'll just get it, and we'll get it, and then I'll hold on to it, and then I'll propose to you at a really nice time. Anyway, so I thought, I'll leave it to you to organise, okay? And then probably like a few months later, again, Shrimp was visiting. She features a lot in the story of this. But it was around her birthday, and so she'd come down for the weekend, and I thought, oh, it's just a nice birthday weekend. That's nice. But we're in Canberra, and there's the Arboretum where we often went to go for walks and have coffee, and just because there's beautiful views and it's a really nice place to be. And one of the first places we visited when we were in Canberra. And so they coaxed me out there to say, we'll buy you a coffee if you come on a walk with us. And I was like, fine, you know, I'll come out. And so they filled me with coffee, and then we went on a particular walk, the cork forest, where all the cork trees are. And yeah, we were just walking along, and I hadn't dressed for the occasion, I hadn't prepared, I didn't have nice nails, I didn't have anything. I was just like, oh, we're out for a walk. And then Shrimp sort of dropped back, and that's when Sarah we were on a bench, and she dropped down on one knee and asked me, sort of sprung it upon me, and she'd got Shrimp there so she could take photos and video the moment, which was really, really sweet. I suppose what I'm most looking forward to being married to Sarah is the everyday. That's my favourite part. I mean, yes, we have plans to travel and go overseas and maybe buy a house one day if the interest rates go down, but there's all these wonderful big things, and there'll be big troubles ahead as well, but I know I can do it with her. I 100% know that anything that life throws at me, I can turn to her. And yeah, I love our sort of everyday life. You know, we get up, the cat's on the end of our bed, we go get ready, we go to work, we come back, and there's really nothing nicer than coming home after a long day, and we both walk in the door and the cat's there, and we put on a cup of tea, or we start cooking dinner together, or we go, oh, what show do you want to watch tonight? You know, this is really like small, simple moments, because they happen every day, and I appreciate them so, so much as I am excited for the big stuff, but I know I'll always have that. I'm so excited to marry you. It's the most concrete, certain thing in my life. No one has made me happier. No one has been as patient. No one is as incredible as you. And I loved you so much when I first met you. I thought you were amazing. And then every day since, watching you grow has been, and blossom and come out of your shell and be yourself and discover who that self is and who you're becoming and who you keep evolving has been the greatest honor and pleasure of my life. And to see you just, I know I said blossoming a lot, but truly blossoming, how you've come into your own as a beautiful young person and continuing on. It's someone you should be so proud of. And I'm so proud to be marrying you. It's why I'm taking your name. It's why I'm sticking around. Because no matter how much you change or how much you evolve, you're just getting better all the time. And I know I make you feel safe, and I know having that safety is so important to you, but you're getting to a place now where you don't need that safety as much, because the world is not as scary. And with you around, everything just becomes so much easier. I am home. I am me. And some of the things you've said to me earlier this year when we were going through some hard parts, well, when I was going through some hard parts, I just couldn't. There is no one else I would rather be with. You said some beautiful things, and you said just the right thing that I never thought anyone would say, because you get me in a whole other way, and you support me on a whole other level than anyone else in my life. And I never want to be without you. You're on my team. You're my best bud. You're you're my favorite gal pal. I'm so excited to do life together with you, to grow, to do whatever happens, because we're a team, because there is no problem that can get between us. I truly believe that. Okay. I'm a big tough lady. I love you, and I will always love you, and I will always be proud to stand by your side and to be your wife. You're Mrs. Whitehouse.
I now ask you to all please be upstanding. Good afternoon, everyone. This beautiful garden in which we gather rests on the lands of the Worimi people, and I am honoured to be celebrating the marriage of Sarah and Samantha here today. I acknowledge First Australians who have one of the oldest living cultures in human history as the custodians of this country, and I pay homage to their traditions of ceremony and storytelling. I pay respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to their descendants. With great joy, we come here in Sarah's childhood home to join Samantha and Sarah in marriage. By their commitment to marry each other, they are saying yes to love, yes to each other, and yes to forever. My name is Rachel Bracken, and I'm an authorised marriage celebrant, and I am honoured to be officiating Sam and Sarah's wedding today. On behalf of Sarah and Sam, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you all and thank you for being here, and to acknowledge that we are thinking of all of those who couldn't be here today. This love story began back in 2018 when Sarah and Sam were both at Shrimp's 21st birthday party. They already knew of each other, having been at the same college in Armidale for a couple of years. And when they first met properly, when they were both involved in the Little Mermaid musical the year prior. Whilst they didn't spend much time together at the time, their interactions were always very flirtatious. Sarah's first impression of Sam was that she always had great clothes, which came in handy once they became a couple and she was able to steal most of them. She thought Sam was confident and was an excellent director of The Little Mermaid. Sam thought Sarah was very nice, very sweet, and that being mean to her would be like kicking a puppy. Everybody loved Sarah. She was kind and thoughtful, and no one had a bad word to say about her. And then, after being in each other's orbit for a couple of years, they found themselves together at Shrimp's 21st, where they most certainly hit it off. They didn't leave each other's side all night. They enjoyed each other's company so much, they decided to spend the next day visiting all of the notable places around Armidale that the infamous bushranger Captain Thunderbolt had been known to frequent. How very romantic. This happened right before uni summer holidays, which meant that Sam and Sarah were to go their separate ways with every intention of leaving it at that. But thanks to modern technology, particularly Snapchat, they kept in touch during the months they were apart. As the uni holidays were drawing to a close and Sarah and Sam were preparing to go back to Armidale, Sarah asked Sam if she would like to go on an adventure with her to a gorgeous picnic spot, the Blue Hole, when they returned. Sam asked Sarah if she was asking her on a date. Sarah thought, well, no, it's just a little adventure so they could get to know each other a little better. She then realised that is the exact definition of a date and responded with, yes, let's go on a date. As Sam and Sarah began to spend more time together, they began to realise they had found someone special. Sam was keen to lock Sarah down, so she invited her on a date with the intention of taking her to a romantic spot and asking her to be her girlfriend. Sarah was oblivious to the significance of the occasion, so when her sister called, she chatted away on the phone while Sam drove around trying to buy some time. It was a long phone conversation, and they eventually ended up back in Sam's garage. Sam wasn't going to miss this opportunity, so while Sarah was barefoot, putting on her shoes and eating a salada with Vegemite, in a perfectly imperfect moment, Sam asked Sarah to be her girlfriend, and the rest, as they say, is history. In the early days, Sam and Sarah would go on drives around town, taking each other on little adventures to places they hadn't been before. They would drive to the lookout at night with a hot chocolate or a cup of tea, overlooking the town and the brilliant night sky, talking about anything and everything, falling more in love with each other every single day. Life felt a little simpler then, with flexible schedules so they could spend lots of time together and limited responsibilities outside of their university studies. While Sarah and Sam knew they wanted to spend their future together, as they were graduating university and beginning their careers, they weren't sure how it would all unfold. There were many pieces of the puzzle that needed to fall into place. And over that time, as they transitioned from students to full-time working adults, they had multiple jobs, moved multiple times, supported each other through a pandemic and many other challenges. They moved to Canberra and welcomed little Persephone into their family. That's the cat. The puzzle pieces were all falling into place. As their relationship strengthened and their love for each other grew, they both knew that their relationship was leading to today, the day they would commit themselves to each other in marriage. Sam was particularly impatient and would propose to Sarah often, like the time Sarah handed her a cup of tea and Sam responded with, "Marry me." Sarah had a more practical approach to stepping into marriage and wanted to ensure they were somewhat settled, living in the same location, both having stable jobs, so they mutually agreed that Sarah would be the one to officially propose to Sam. And then, after Sarah's criteria had been met and they were ready to take the leap, she began planning a beautiful proposal. With Shrimp visiting them in Canberra, Sarah took the opportunity to take them all on an adventure to the Arboretum with the promise of a coffee. Shrimp held back and was able to capture every wonderful moment as Sarah asked Sam to make her the happiest woman in the world and become her wife. Of course, Sam said yes. And 6 months later, Sam nervously took her turn, taking Sarah to Lake George, a place that held many wonderful childhood memories for Sarah, and asked her to return the favour and become her wife. Thank goodness she said yes. Sarah and Sam have built a solid foundation for marriage based on shared values, common interests, and mutual respect. They both value loyalty, kindness, and helping other people whenever they can. They both enjoy reading, particularly on a rainy day with a cup of tea. And they prioritise taking care of each other, always checking in on the other one, providing a listening ear, or giving each other a hug when they need it. Sarah loves how Sam supports her and reminds her how amazing she is. She loves how Sam makes her feel safe and gives her really good hugs. She loves the cute face Sam pulls when she is concentrating, and she loves how knowledgeable Sam is about the world, always offering interesting facts. She admires Sam's ability to stay true to herself, especially when the world has different expectations of what she should be doing. Sarah appreciates how Sam has helped her to become more open with herself and her friends, and encourages Sarah to put herself and her health before others. Sam loves Sarah's whole existence. She loves that Sarah is such a caring, strong, passionate soul. She loves that Sarah can see the good in everybody. And she loves Sarah's dimple when she smiles, when she is truly happy. I suspect it's there right now. Sam admires Sarah's bravery in facing every day, even when things are difficult, and that she is always sweet and caring towards people, even when they are being frustrating. Sam appreciates how Sarah has helped her to feel more grounded and to be more present and live in the moment. Sarah and Sam look forward to a long and happy life together. They look forward to more adventures, travelling and supporting each other in their expanding careers. They look forward to buying a house one day and filling it with books and collectibles, with a balcony to enjoy a cup of tea whilst reading together and a backyard for Sarah to kick a ball around. They look forward to growing old together, being regulars at a little cafe where they sit and read their books together with their favourite person forever by their side. To Sam and Sarah, they feel incredibly lucky to be here today, knowing the person they want to spend the rest of their lives with feels the same way. They acknowledge the significance of this moment, as for much of their lives, same-sex marriage was not a possibility. They are proud to be here in front of their family and friends, celebrating their love and their commitment to each other. Sarah and Sam. Robert H. Dodd famously said, "The goal of marriage is not to think alike, but to think together." Marriage is about finding common ground, respecting each other's perspectives, and working together towards a shared vision. Marriage and love, they're verbs, words of action. Sam and Sarah, you prove to each other daily through small, consistent acts of love, this is true of your relationship. Love is something you do, it's not just something you get. You have chosen to come here today to promise yourselves to each other in marriage. And whilst your day-to-day life may not change, you are giving yourselves this milestone in your relationship, this memory to live by, where you look at each other and say, I am here. I am committing myself 100% to you. When tough times happen in the future, you will always have this moment to look back on, this reminder to turn towards one another rather than away. And in the great times ahead, you will continue to solidify the foundations of your relationship and know the best days are always yet to come. Sarah and Sam, I invite you to remember this moment in time. As an authorised marriage celebrant, I am duly authorised by law to solemnise marriages according to law. Sarah and Sam, before you were joined in marriage, in my presence, and in the presence of these witnesses, I am to remind you of the solemn and binding nature of the relationship into which you are now about to enter. Marriage, according to law in Australia, is the union of two people to the exclusion of all others, voluntarily entered into for life. You will now make promises to each other, conveying your intentions for your marriage. Do you, Samantha, take Sarah to be your wedded wife, to cherish in love and in friendship, in strength and in weakness, in success and in disappointment, to love her faithfully today, tomorrow, and for as long as the two of you shall live?
I do.
Do you, Sarah, take Samantha to be your wedded wife, to cherish in love and in friendship, in strength and in weakness, in success and in disappointment, to love her faithfully today, tomorrow, and for as long as the two of you shall live?
I do.
Sarah and Sam will now share their vows.
I call upon the persons here present to witness that I, Sarah Grace Whitehouse, take you, Samantha Rhiannon Margaret Marl, to be my lawful wedded wife, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. I will love and honour you for all the days of my life, and from the beginning to the end of time.
I call upon the persons here present to witness that I, Samantha Rhiannon Margaret Marl, take you, Sarah Grace Whitehouse,
to be my lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. I will love and honour you for all of the days of my life, and from the beginning to the end of time.
I'll now ask Shrimp to bring forward the rings. Sarah and Sam, you are now holding the wedding ring you will give each other as a symbol of the vows you have just taken. These rings are a physical reminder of the love and joy you feel in this moment. Whenever you are apart and missing each other, or whenever you are experiencing difficult times, all you need to do is glance at your left hand to be transported back to this moment and know that everything will be okay. Hold the ring tight, pour all your love into it, and then place on each other's left hand. Got it. Samantha and Sarah, we have heard your promise to share your lives in marriage. In the honesty and sincerity of what you have said and done here today, it is my honour and delight to declare you wife and wife. You may kiss. I'm just wondering if we've got time to do the signing. We might do that afterwards. It's starting to spit. We might sign the marriage certificates afterwards. Just because we're starting to feel a little bit of rain, we will sign the marriage certificates afterwards. Could I please ask Sam's uncle Anthony to stand up? Anthony is the MC this evening and is going to be guiding you through the reception. So if you need anything, he's the one to help you. Okay. Now the reception will begin at 4:30 p.m. down at the Surf Club, so just a short stroll down the pathway. Head down there whenever you're ready. I now ask you to please be upstanding. Do you want to hand her the bouquet? Yeah. And get ready to make some noise. Now, for the reason we're all here, it is my greatest honour to present to you, for the very first time, Mrs. and Mrs. Whitehouse.
It seems to have started like years ago, as far as I'm concerned. That's because we don't get over here much. So what we see is them on TV, on video conferences and things like that. That's correct, isn't it? This is the first time we met Sarah in the flesh. So yeah. We talked to her a lot.
Okay, what do you think of Sarah so far?
Oh, she's lovely. Yes, I mean, it's literally, we've only exchanged a couple of words so far, but she seems lovely. Yeah, what can I say? You're going to have a lovely life together, and everything. Tomorrow is going to be an amazing event, and you're going to look back at this video and think, wow, especially when, things get good, they get tough, whatever. And for us, you're always welcome to see us in the UK. I know you're going to come over to the UK at some stage, and that we'll spend some time together, and we'll look forward to it. Because again, you've got to see some history. There's no history out in Australia. There's nothing worth seeing.
Very best wishes for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Yeah, be nice to each other, particularly nice to each other. And the other thing is the person you're married to is the most important person in your life. There's nobody else who's as important. That's what I think anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, good, okay. Hi Sarah and Sam. It's great that you're getting married. We hope you look after each other and you're nice to each other and spend lots of time together. In another 70 years, maybe you can pass this message on to your great-grandkids or to your grandkids.
So get ready for an evening of love, laughter, questionable dance moves, and an excellent dinner, all kicking off with speeches. So without further ado, I'm going to ask the first two to come in, which would be Emily and Lauren. It's music, and so Emily. So Emily is the first. She's basically is the reason Sarah broke her collarbone at some stage. Lauren is almost Sam's sister-in-law. So the next two in, Pip and Liz. Pip is the reason Jeff almost lost his license. He'll tell you about that at some stage. And Liz, she stuck by Sarah even through her twilight phase. So the next two in, so I know you'll want more, Nikki and Jess. Nikki enjoys demolishing letterboxes with her car. So somebody will know something about that, at least the letterbox. And Jess has a weapon of choice being a plastic golf club. Okay, the next people in, we have Gemma and Shrimp. Gemma and Shrimp both were rumoured to have been dating the brides at one stage or another. So I'll let you investigate that at your leisure. There they go. They're making the most of it. Okay, finally, I hope you give it up for Sarah and Sam coming in, the bride and bride. So, the lovely couple. I can't say too much that you haven't heard already, but believe me, one or two glasses of wine and they're out. That I can tell you. So with that, I'm going to hand over for the start of the speeches once they've got their seats.
So first of all, both Sam and I would like to say thank you so much for coming up here. I know some of you taking time off work, traveling all this way. It means the world to us to have all the people that we love and cherish here in the same room and celebrating us. It's rather nice. Additional thanks to the bar staff as well, because I think I've grown up with both of them. So guest appearances. I'd also like to say thank you to all those who have helped to set up today, either be it offering help, coming down and helping to set up, actually making things, organising, liaising with people. It really did take a village to get this all together, and again, it means the world to us. I would like to put forward an additional thank you to my parentals, Dad and Millie. You both did so much work, and you hosted the ceremony, which I imagine was quite a bit of work to get all of the garden looking like a resort. I think I've had 3 or 4 people say that it looked like that, and I was like, yep, wasn't expecting it, but it looks great. So it means the world. Thank you. Moving slightly on to this person here on my right, who for me the day is all about her and us. I would like to thank Joe and Stephen for raising such a wonderful person. She is just the person I want to spend my life with, so you did a good job. Thank you very much. Sorry. To my bridesmaids, thank you. Sorry, I'm going through a lot of thank yous. Coming and celebrating here with me today, you are the best friends and family I could ask for. You have helped support me and even made sure that I don't look like I'm covered in fur. And the Hens weekend that we had away together, the organisation that went into that, it was just exactly what I wanted. And it's nice to know that I have such good friends and family to be there for me. So thank you. And going back to Sam. So I remember when I first started seeing Sam, and we would talk and we'd spend time together. It was kind of mentioned by Rachel earlier today. We spent hours together. I think so. We started at Shrimp's party, and then the next day we went on adventures together. And for the next week we were gaming, going out for lunch. It was a lot, and I cannot remember feeling more safe and comfortable just being me as I was that week, which was very, very nice. We then went home for summer break, and I was glued to my phone, and I didn't even realize it at the time. It felt like I was talking to her in the room. I even remember one time I was sitting on the couch messaging Sam, and Dad just turns to me and goes, "Who the bloody heck are you talking to all the time?" I was like, "Oh, it's just a uni friend." I think they knew before I did that I had a giant crush on Sam. Fast forwarding a little bit, a really good cup of tea later, as you are all aware, Sam proposed to me. And I said no. I think a couple of weeks passed. I must have been really good at making tea because, she asked again and again. At that point, we decided maybe I should be the one to ask because I kind of had this idea in my head of when I should be settling down and getting married. And so we kind of made that rule because, one too many proposers in a row for a good cup of tea. From there, it was waiting for me to kind of get my act together, check all the boxes, and then settle into the feeling of, yes, I want to date this one. I want to be with this one. I want to do life with Sam. And that did take me a little while. Growing up, I never really thought that I would get married. I couldn't really see myself being in a marriage, and in part of that, I think, was I never saw people like me being married to other people. Thanks. And then the 2016 plebiscite happened. And I started seeing it a bit more and realizing, hey, this might be for me. I might actually be interested in this. And then I met Sam, 2018. She asked me the question, and that got me thinking that maybe, yes, I could see myself settling down with Sam. Couldn't really see it with anyone else, but Sam kind of broke that little thought process. I don't actually remember explicitly when I first was like, oh yeah, I want to marry Sam, but I do remember the hundreds and hundreds of times since then that I've had those thoughts. Sometimes testing. Yeah. Sometimes it has been when she has delivered me a really nice cup of tea after a long day at work, sets it down in front of me, smiles, and is kind of like, yeah, you can do this. Today's been hard, but you can do this, and afterwards I'll be there. It's been when we go on adventures together, even if that's just going for a walk around the Arboretum or going to the shops and picking up a book or anything like that. I'll look at her and I'll be like, this is the one I want to spend my life with. I even think of it when we go for coffee in the morning and we sit there and all we do is talk. You sometimes go on a TED talk about, English history or something like that. And I'll sit there and I think, yeah, I could listen to her talk about anything for hours and I would not get bored of it. And I'm like, yes, this one. Every single time that I think those things, I find myself falling a little bit more in love with you. Sam, I love you to bits, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life having even more of, this one. To the end of the universe and back. Thank you.
So this one's not going to be easy.
This speech should be much easier than my usual ones. No one's going to jail if I stuff up. I won't make this speech longer than it needs to be by repeating the many thank yous Sarah has just mentioned, although I do certainly share her sentiments. Everyone's contribution has meant a lot to us, and we are so happy to share this with all of you. I did want to make some special mentions, however. Firstly, to my bridesmaids. It has been so much fun going on this adventure with you. You are each so important to us in your own way, unique way. Jess, you and I have been through a lot together, and ever since we became friends, I've imagined you being by my side for my wedding. And I'm so grateful you're here today.
Don't do that to me.
Liz, I've loved bonding with you over so much, not least over how lovable and crazy Sarah is. Lauren, we've been over the hills and back too, but I've always appreciated how easy our friendship is and the chill vibes you bring to everything. Now, I wanted to do a special thank you to Shrimp, not just because she's my maid of honour, but because of the amount of help she's given us for the wedding. The welcome sign, the family tree over there, the table seating chart, the table numbers, the programs, the decorations, and so much more have been largely made by Shrimp. That's, of course, including organising my hens party, shuffling me around today, and the general support and comfort you've given me. This day would not have been so wonderful without you, and neither would this life. You've been there every step of the way, and there is no way I could probably thank you for everything. But if I ever win lotto, I'll give you a call. Yes! Ever since I was little, I've always wanted to get married. Unlike Sarah, obviously. With the proposals not enough, I've always been a bit of a romantic. Perhaps that is because I've had a great example to look up to. My parents, their devotion and generosity to one another are things that I hope to blatantly copy in my own marriage. I know I have been very lucky to have supportive parents when it comes to my love life, treating my boyfriends and girlfriends the same and ensuring they all knew how to make a good cup of tea. I think Sarah was the most successful. When it came to our wedding, my mum reminded us to not get lost in how perfect the cutlery was or how the chairs looked, and to enjoy ourselves, and that has been the best advice. My family is rather small, and I don't just mean height-wise. Growing up, it was very much a case of us three. This meant that when Sarah took me home to meet her family, I was in for a bit of a shock. For those of you who have seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding, I felt like the love interest Ian, surrounded by a very large and loving Greek family. But like Ian, I too was welcomed with open arms. And like Ian, I have discovered the joys of having a large family to enjoy my time with. Lastly, before I talk about Sarah, I wanted to mention some special people in our lives who could not be here tonight, but who we could not forget. From my cousins in England who couldn't quite make the distance, to my relatives who couldn't be here because of health, my grandma, my great uncle Tony and Auntie Judith, and of course, there are others that we miss dearly. Sarah's mum, Sally, whose memory shines so bright that even I can clearly imagine her as if she were here today. My grandparents, Ray, June, and Max, along with my great aunt Pat, who were some of the most loving figures in my life growing up. And my auntie Lisa, who, like Sally, I could see chatting to everyone and making sure everyone was having a good time. All of these people are here in our hearts. My nails. Thank you. For something a little lighter, I thought I would talk about someone who never fails to make me happy, Sarah. To be honest with you, after I saw Sarah at college, I never thought our paths would cross. She was doing a science degree and every sport the uni could offer. That's an exaggeration, but it felt like it. I avoided sport and science like it was the plague. Our friends were completely different circles, and I only knew of her because she was so popular at college. For some reason, our paths converged, which I'm very grateful for, obviously. We quickly discovered that despite all of those reasons, we actually had a lot in common. A love of reading, of history, similar TV shows, and most importantly, of values. I've never met someone as kind and considerate as Sarah. She has given me joy and patience. It is the joy of my life to come home after a long day to see you and Percy and just living life with you. Since being with you, we have left uni, started adult jobs, moved twice, adopted Percy, and done so much more. I've had the privilege of watching you grow and blossom into a person who I'm so proud to call my wife. There are 1,000 little moments I could list which proved to me over the past 5 years that you were the person I was going to marry. I'm a terribly indecisive person, but I've never been more certain about anything in my life than marrying you. No matter what happens in our lives, I know that I was meant to love you, to marry you. I love you, and I feel so lucky that you love me too and want to spend the rest of your life with me. Now, I must apologise for the long speech. You know how lawyers like to waffle. But thank you all for coming and celebrating with us, and please enjoy the rest of your evening far too much. Thank you.
Welcome everyone. Look, it's really, truly wonderful to have you all here to celebrate Sam and Sarah's wedding today. Seeing Sarah so happy and settled in life brings me just so much immense joy, and I'm sure a large part of this is thanks to Sam. Sarah, despite some of her more wild looks growing up, was always described by her mother as a caramella koala. Tough on the outside, but soft, sweet, and wonderfully gooey on the inside. I'm sure Sal is here with us today and is immensely happy and proud of her daughter. We've always thought that Sarah arrived in the world a little wiser than most. We used to joke that she spent the first years of her life on ice, carefully taking notes to approach life. And this wisdom has been reflected in her decisions throughout her life. As a child, Sarah had boundless energy, with her unruly curls, cheeky grin, and often dirty clothes from her latest adventure. One of my favourite memories is captured in a photo we took of her outside Kakadu National Park where she had this wide, toothless grin, a mud-streaked face, front and centre, along with a green tree frog sitting on top of her hand. Sarah's always loved the outdoors and was drawn to anything active, whether it was soccer, boogie boarding, or just climbing trees and hunting for blue tongues. She threw herself into anything active wholeheartedly. She recently reminded me that she would wear out a pair of shoes every month. Her record was 1 week, especially when she was playing tennis. And for the record, Sarah still gives the best hugs in the world. If you haven't experienced a Sarah hug, you've really missed out. Sarah's always been strong-willed, and when she was little, she could really show her temper and if she really felt passionate about something, and very much formed her own opinions. And if you don't believe me on that, just ask anyone who's tried to get Sarah into a dress. High school wasn't the easiest time for Sarah, partly because of Sal, but she just found it difficult. She wasn't particularly focused on her academics, and I often wondered what path she would end up taking through life. At that time, I really was very worried about her. Thankfully, Millie came into our lives. During that period, and she's just been such a wonderful influence on Sarah. It's been really lovely to see the close bond they've developed. Sarah chose to attend Armidale University after that, as she really wanted to avoid living in a city, where she pursued a rather unusual combination of physics and ancient history, and the university really didn't know how to cope with that type of mix. So her timetable was really strange. But it was at Armidale and through Earl Pay College that I think truly really came into her own and really, became the person we know she is today. And though she and Sam didn't start dating until the end of her time at university, I'm certain that the early friendship played a significant role in Sarah's growth and success. Sarah went on to achieve some remarkable things. At Earl Page College, she was named Collegian of the Year, Sportswoman of the Year, and multiple full blues for her athletic achievements, and was a resident fellow. From Armidale University, she graduated with first-class honours in physics, as well as her ancient history degree. She got a university half blue, and of course the university medal as well. She really liked to outshine her parents. After university, she applied for 2 jobs, getting offers from both. One related to water management from the Murray-Darling Basin, and the other in rocket science. She accepted the latter, and now is often working on top-secret computer modelling that I don't get to find out about because my security clearance isn't high enough. As for Sam, well, I don't know her as well as I would like. Part of that's thanks to the COVID lockdown when they were living close to us, and partly was their then moved to Canberra, which is a fair way from Foster. However, I do know that she's creative, that she loves my daughter, and she's incredibly bright. The personalised game of Jeffopoly that she made with my daughters is just amazing, and her attention to detail at setting up this part of the evening, which really has been Sam's part, has been wonderful. She's also, to my knowledge, written not only a full novel, but then had it edited and rewritten it, and I'm really dying to get a read of it at some stage, Sam. And that really takes motivation and imagination and just so much effort. She's about to start a fantastic new job, and I have no doubt that she's going to continue to thrive. But really from my side, as Sarah's dad, the most important thing is she just brings so much joy to Sarah and makes Sarah an even better person. To Steve and Joe, look, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to become part of your of the family. I'm hoping this is still here, but regarding the dowry for your daughter, look, I understand that you're retired, you're no longer dealing in cattle, but can you just hold this for me for a sec? I believe that should be paid partly in. Can I just? Hello, I've just like. Straight face. Hello, yes. It should be paid in... I've lost my speech now too. It should be paid in meerkat garden gnomes. And that is the first one. Anyway, to my youngest, most beautiful daughter Sarah, I wish you all the happiness and contentment in the world. And to Sam, thank you for making Sarah so incredibly happy. Love to you both.
Thank you, Anthony. That sound all right up there? Hello? Yes? Okay. Firstly, I'd like to thank Jeff and Millie for their hospitality over the last couple of days, but also for a meerkat that I wasn't expecting. But I'm here to talk about Sam. I suspect most of you don't know too much about Sam. When she was 2, we took her to England to meet her grandparents, her uncle Anthony, some cousins, and we'd done all the usual touristy things, went to Buckingham Palace and Madame Tussauds, etc. But it was Stonehenge that took her interest. She was only 2 or 3, and when we came back home, she built her own version of Stonehenge with blocks of wood she found around the house. And that's where her love of interest of England history probably started, and it's flourished since then. Because when she was 5, her mother took her back to England for her grandfather's 70th birthday. She also went to the Commonwealth Games in Manchester that year, attended 2 weddings, and when she came home, she started primary school. Now, academically, she was interested and enthusiastic, but believe it or not, she was also the school swimming champion. She was also very well accomplished in cross-country running, and she decided to start a Girl Guides group. And she promptly signed up every girl in primary school for Girl Guides. When she was 10, we took her back to England again for her grandmother's 70th birthday. This time, we had to go to every castle in England and Wales, and her love of English history had obviously grown. When she came back from that trip, she decided to start a CWA Young Leaders Group. I don't know as many of you will know too much about that, but it's very big in Queensland these days. Once again, she signed up all the girls from Girl Guides. Primary school. That's when she was 12. She received the Lions Club Citizen of the Year Award and earned a scholarship to a prestigious girls' school in Toowoomba. So we moved to Toowoomba. That's where she met some of her friends who are here tonight. Still lifelong friends, obviously. In high school, she went on a school history trip to France. Well travelled, obviously, by the time she was 12. She was captain of her sports team for her house at high school. And once again, made some lifelong friends, some of which are here tonight. Off to university, UNE, Armidale. We've got a perfectly good university in Toowoomba.
Didn't have a Sarah there, though.
Well, that's what we've found out, yes. No, she made some very good friends there, and yeah, none more important than Sarah, obviously. She gained a degree in law, a degree in performing arts. She wrote, directed and starred in so many plays, and me and her mother went to all of them. When she graduated, her mother took her on another trip to England and France. I stayed home and earned some money to pay for the trip. Now, there's probably nothing more important as far as a highlight is concerned for us than her decision to marry with Sarah today. Well, I've probably missed quite a few highlights. To me, the important highlights are just small memories. Sam as a 5 or 6 year old in the back of the ute throwing out biscuits of hay to the cattle while I drove around the paddocks. Her rolling out fencing wire while I was fencing a paddock for her little pony, Molly. They're real treasures. But yeah, tonight is a special night for all of us, I think. Would you all join me in a toast, which I don't have? Yeah, look, the toast is Sam and Sarah. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Steve.
Hi everyone, I'm Gemma, and today I have the privilege of being Sarah's maid of honour. So Sarah and I met when we were both 18. I'd been dropped off at college in Armidale and I'd just spent an hour crying in the bathroom because my mum left. As I crept out of the bathroom and back to my bedroom, trying to dry my eyes, I saw the fresher who was moving into the room next to me. Her name was Sarah. Sarah and I struck up a close bond pretty quickly. I think being woken up by the tunes of Thunderstruck at 5 a.m, then forced to drink alcohol and do laps of the Oval together probably expedited this process. It was pretty obvious that my new college... Sorry, can you guys hear that? I should have checked. It was pretty obvious that my new college roommate was an overachiever. On top of averaging high distinctions in her first semester, Sarah also established herself as a killer soccer player who happened to excel in pretty much any sport. The notable exception here was running, and I think any possible deficiency in this area has less to do with any lack of talent and more to do with Sarah's innate hatred of running itself. No one gets to choose what they are good at, but as Sarah has demonstrated with running, you can choose to be bad at things. This was a relief for me. It meant that there was a singular sport that I could finally say I was better than Sarah at. Sarah and I were often compared in college. We were the same age, we were the same height. I'm actually 1 centimetre taller. And we took it in turns to be awarded Sportswoman of the Year, and we became academic mentors together. So I had always assumed that we were compared because of our friendship and the similarities I had just listed. In hindsight, we shared one glaringly obvious trait that neither of us realised we had in common at the time. We were both attracted to women. While Sarah and I were both still actually just figuring out sexuality back then, the rest of the college seemed to have decided for us. I only discovered a few years ago that there were rampant gay rumours surrounding me and Sarah, and certain Facebook photos taken of us together on the assumption that we were a couple. Ironically, it was Sarah's now wife, Sam, who enlightened us to these rumours. The closet was made of glass. My only regret in my friendship with Sarah is that we never did pursue a homoerotic, enemies-to-lovers relationship in college. That said, I think even the greatest rivalry-turned relationship would not begin to compare to the love between Sam and Sarah. Sarah thinks that I catch up with her purely because I enjoy her company. While this is not untrue, I have an ulterior motive. I need to be reminded that love is real and that sometimes two people really are destined for each other. Sarah and Sam remind me of this every time I see them. I'm still trying to figure out if Sam is luckier to be married to Sarah or Sarah is luckier to be married to Sam. Sam has an aura that brings out the best in the people around her. She has an honest and pure love that makes you feel seen and valued, and I'm so happy and mildly envious that Sarah will get to live the rest of her life basking in it. Equally, Sarah could run a masterclass in loyalty and devotion. In our friendship, Sarah has taught me a love that is unwavering and committed. She is a pure and devoted partner whose care is unmatched. I think a lot about the fact that Sarah and I were in a college of 300 people, split over 11 floors, and somehow we wound up next to each other. I've witnessed Sarah's highest highs and lowest lows. I've watched as she was named Collegiate of the Year, as she got her first full-time job as a rocket scientist, and as she had her first and last ever taste of Passion Pop. I've had the privilege of Sarah's friendship, and now I have the privilege of watching her marry the love of her life. I can't wait to see you two live the rest of your lives together. And Sarah, I will be checking in frequently, entirely just for your company and not to prove to myself that love is real.
Let me clap for you guys.
One second.
I prepared my speech on palm cards thinking there'd be a lectern. So Gemma is going to be my human microphone. Thank you very much. So, hi everybody, hi friends, hi enemies, and hi undecided. For those of you who don't know me, and you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, I'm sorry for your loss. My name is Sarah, but Sam calls me Shrimp because it comforts her to know that when I'm around, she's not the only person under 5'3" in a room. My goal in these next 10 minutes is to make you laugh, maybe cry, but hopefully by the end of it, to make you feel like you know these two beautiful humans a little better, as seen through the lens of their pet shrimp. See, there comes a time in every girl's life where they meet the love of their life. And as we all know for Sam, that was in 2017 when she met me. I'd apologise to you, Sarah, but you know your place. I kid. See, even though I'm one of Sam's closest friends, I was actually super surprised when she asked me if I would have the great honour of doing a roast at her wedding. Oh my gosh, I'm just realising she might have said do a toast, not a roast. Oh, okay, I can't. Nope. No, definitely not that one. No. Sorry about that, here we go. Sam's morning breath is so bad, nope. Here we go, for real. Sam and I met in college, and I've had her in my lasso ever since, dragging her kicking and screaming on all sorts of adventures. Since we met at college, there was always loads of mischief to be had when you share the same address, and we loved it so much that we decided that after just 1 year of living together at college, we wanted to live together away from it. Sam, living with you at 88 Niagara Street in Armidale was one of the most formative years in my life. There is a reason I have the coordinates to our address tattooed on my right arm, alongside our matching shrimp tattoos. See, it's not uncommon for someone to have a right-hand person, a right-hand man, but I've dedicated my whole right arm to this weirdo. Sam and I initially bonded over many late nights and a couple of broken hearts working on EPC musicals together, which is also where Sam would have the opportunity to first notice the captivating eyes of a certain stagehand in the wings. But I'm getting ahead of myself, don't worry, Sarah, I'll come to you. For those of you not familiar with me and Sam's dynamic, we are like fire and ice sometimes, often doing the same things together but with entirely different vibes. Like, I'm impulsive, she's an overthinker, she's wicked smart, I'm kind of a dumbass. She's super generous, I'm poor. I'm basically the yin to her yang. I'm her token straight white Christian friend. The diversity hire, if you will. Over the years together, we've dyed our hair funky colours, we've gotten tattoos together, we've seen each other's hometowns, we've decorated Christmas trees, been together in sickness and in health. Remember that time you got 3 illnesses all at once and ended up in hospital, and I forced you to watch Will and Grace for days on end against your will and Grace? Sam's asked me to share a couple of funny stories, and I didn't have to prep any of these because I've been collecting them on my phone for years. So I'm just going to read you a couple of my favourite ones, unprompted, unprepped. Are you ready, Sam? You asked for this. So there was this time, oh, I forgot about this. There was a time in Armidale where there was a minor earthquake the year that we lived together, and
I didn't realise what it was. I just thought that a big truck had driven past and shaken the windows, and Sam had to come out and say, no, that was the earth. And then she went and played Chicken Scream for 3 more hours. Very 2018 Chicken Scream. I mentioned those EPC musicals before. Well, more than half of the bridal party actually really bonded together over those EPC musicals, and they were hard yakka. Each one of them every year will culminate in a week of musical practice called Musical Week. I'm talking 14-hour days, like very little sleep, non-stop singing, dancing, rehearsing, practicing, everything coming together. And the year that Sam and I lived together, I co-directed and conducted a version of Chicago. And 14 hours of non-stop conducting will do something to your brain, because you know where this is going. Sam went past my room in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or something, and my door was open, and she hears me talking to someone. And she's like, it's 3 a.m. We've been rehearsing for 14 hours today. Who is she talking to? Who is in her room? Why are they in her room at 3 a.m.? Why is she talking? And she sticks her head in. And I wasn't sleep talking. I was sleep conducting, waving my arms, 1, 2, 3, work with me, people, in my sleep. Sam had to tell me that all the next day. I had no recollection of it at all. Only Sam finds that one funny. We got to plenty of shenanigans. This one time, she and I went to the kids section at Kmart, and we bought golden, metallic Heeley shoes. And we decided that we were going to learn how to Heeley. And in typical Sam and Shrimp fashion, with 1 hour of practice on our front porch, we decided we were ready to hit the dance floor. And we very quickly discovered that we could slut drop, but we couldn't slut back up. See, we've gotten up to so much life together, and it's barely even started yet. Like, when I look back to COVID, it's impossible for me to think about it without thinking of you guys. I remember before the great big Sydney lockdown in 2021, when I was actually staying overnight in Sam and Sarah's place in Mannering Park, and the lockdown order came, and I had to leave early. And on the drive home, I remember thinking, when is the next time I'm going to see these two people? But I didn't have to worry about that long, because shortly after that, we began our weekly Zoom hangs, playing video games together, catching up each week on the week that was. I know COVID was a really isolating time for a lot of people, but I feel like, Sam, it really brought us closer than ever before. And the other surprise benefit was that's where I actually really properly started getting to know you, Sarah. Looking back now, I must say, if I'm being honest, there was a time where I'd refer to you as my best friend Sam and her friend Sarah, my best friend Sam and her girlfriend Sarah, and then my best friend Sam and her fiancée Sarah. And you'd think that now I'd be so excited to say my best friend Sam and her wife Sarah, and by the way, so excited to be able to finally say that. But I don't know when, but I do know how you guys actually became my best friends, Sam and Sarah. Yeah, give a clap for Sarah, she's a cutie. Sarah, I know it's normally the maid of honour's job to say how lucky you are to be with my bestie, so I know that you know it's a compliment when I say how lucky Sam is to be with you. Sam is my family, and I'm so proud to call you family now too. You are so smart, Sarah, but more importantly, you're so caring. The lengths you go to for your loved ones are otherworldly, and those who get to know you are better for it. It does sadden me that I never got the chance to meet Sally. But based on conversations with your family, I know that if she were here, she would be so proud of you both. And I have it on Tina's authority that she would have loved you, Sam. Oh, sorry. What a day. You know, at Sarah's hens, Gemma and I were talking about our Maids of Honour speeches, and I was telling her how I actually started writing this shortly after you guys got together at my 21st. I'm not exaggerating. It's nearly 6 years ago. Because I knew then, just as it's plain to everyone in this room now, anyone who can see you both knows that you were made for each other. Whether you believe in a creator like I do or not, it's clear to see that you guys are perfect for each other. Individually, no, you're not perfect. But nobody is, not by a long shot, but together, perfection. Perfectly imperfect together. Where you fail, she thrives. Where she struggles, you shine. You cover for one another, and you make each other better and stronger. And please know that no matter where you are
or where I am, I will always be available to call and make a reservation so you don't have to pick up the phone. But it wouldn't be a maid of honour speech if I didn't wrap up with some kind words for my best friend. See, I remember this one time, Sam said to me, and this was shortly after she was confirmed by the Supreme Court of New South Wales as a lawyer ready to practice and do justice. She was confirmed and she turns to me on Zoom and she says, I peaked in high school. Well, today I can safely say that's still true. Look, there's a reason I call you my family, Sam. We annoy the heck out of each other. It's part of the sibling experience. But when it really matters, we're always there for each other, through thick and through thin. You always take my calls, listen to my problems. You've baked me more birthday cakes than my family ever have. Sam, you and I have grown up a lot over these past 8 years. And I'm so grateful to be by your side as you grew to be the fantastic woman that we all know and love today. You are so strong. You are so wise. Your sense of right and of wrong and of justice is something that many people, many times your age, can't match. You are a fierce friend and a comforting confidant. You always make time for the people who need you. And I'm so grateful to call you my best friend. See, Sam and I have grown up a lot together these past 8 years. And Sarah, I hope you enjoy growing old with her as much as I've enjoyed growing up with her. So, let's get some drinks. With that being said, please lift a glass to the brides. To the brides. Thank you.
It was just two lovers sitting in the car, listening to blonde, falling for each other, picking on skies, feeling super childish, no doubt, no clever. This come from my mother. Like, where you at tonight? Got no alibi. I was all alone with the love of my life. She's got glitter for skin, my radiant beam in the night. I don't need no lies to see. Feet up on the dash, driving nowhere fast, burning through the summer. Radio on blast, make the moment last. She got solar power, minutes feel like hours. She knew she was the baddest, can you even imagine falling like I did? For the love of my life, she's got glow on her face, a glorious look in her eyes. My angel of light, I was all alone with the love of my life. She's got glitter for skin, my radiant beam in the night. I don't need no light to see. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last, love has won. And